Whoa, dudes and dudettes, it's Dan Mitri, totally the community manager at DICE, here to talk to you about the launch updates we've made since the beta of Battlefield 5. We flipped the switch a day early for anyone that wants to throw down some extra Skrilla for the actual release date of the game with Origin or EA access as a big middle finger to people that got one of the plethora of upcharged editions that will have the game launch on November 15th. And for the supposed worldwide release for people that actually just want to pay the normal $60 that everybody should pay for the game on the 20th of November. Unlike some other FPS games, we've actually overhauled the game after people got their hands on it back in September, which is what you'd expect when you get an extra month to stomp out bugs like a budget exterminator. We've got a groovy 139 pages of patch notes for you nerds to go through, which is basically like the Battlefield 5 user guide that you used to get when people were wasteful and actually bought physical copies of games. Remember the pamphlet that would come with your games? Instruction manuals? Damn, that's some nostalgia goggles, baby. However, for those of you dumb shits that can't read, I'll explain it to you in audio-video form, since it's crazy go nuts to think that you need a novella in order to play a shooter game. Let's first talk about the swipe left or swipe right attrition system. To not make this a snooze, boring game of busy work every time you spawn to visit a supply station, we're giving all assault rifles, SMGs, semi-automatic rifles, and self-loading rifles an additional magazine on spawn, and the ability to get one extra magazine on top of that from resupplying. Support players with LMGs, MMGs, and shotties spawn with the maximum amount of ammo, while the bolt action rifles remain unchanged because it takes less bullets to kill people with them than other guns. That's some hashtag quick maths. We've also changed up the supply station on the maps to be like longboard versus shortboards, separate but equal ammo and health stations, not next to one another on different hotspots around the map, including them being pre-built on the HQ spawns and the nearest objective to each team, but physically need to be constructed using our Fortnitifications building system on other OBJs, as well as having more visible icons for said stations in the distance. Tubular. With the beta, we introduced the Oprah-esque concept of everybody getting a med pouch upon spawn, which can be picked up from one of those supply stations, or if a medic tosses one your way, like a paper towel for a Puerto Rican hurricane. If you end up using it when your health is low, like apple bottom jean boots with the fur. We also changed the keybind of the self-heal with the reserve pouch from 5 to C and allowed it to be remapped, unlike in the beta. Additionally, on UI, your health bar will now show both regular and regenerated health in two different transparencies in order to help show off how gnarly our attrition system actually is. More on attrition, the ammo crate will resupply all gadgets per 15 seconds of interaction, and will not resupply grenades, along with a cooldown for explosives in order to prevent that beloved spam. Sorry, Hawaiians. There's also going to be pop-up icons on teammates, but don't worry, these won't be those ones that you click on and accidentally get a virus. For support players, when a teammate is carrying less than the maximum amount of ammo, along with when you're a medic and those teammates have less than 100 health for healing, and ones that don't have a backup pouch where you as a medic can give them one like a spammer in a Twitch chat. Additionally, for icons, there are new types of revive ones, including a normal size one for a person bleeding out at a perfectly normal rate for a blown the fuck off leg, a larger pulsating one for someone with their arm in the air as your hashtag terrible teammates walk right past you, and a smaller faded one for people that just want to get the fuck back into battle instead of looking around at all the people actually having fun. While we're on the subject of death, far out, bro. We've reduced the death screen duration from 4 to 3 seconds, as well as starting the respawn timer during the man down state instead of when you're killed, so there's actually no time advantage in skipping the bleed out. So why the fuck would you even bother pissing off medics that are actually trying to do their job? What a jerk face. Better yet though, if we actually did our jobs, there would be a point in skipping revives for the people that want to get back into the action. But anyways, we did speed up the ragdoll settle to allow for quicker revives revives, and after being brought to life like Evanescence, there's a 5-second timer during which, if you die, you'll skip the down state and go right back to the respawn screen. Gotta love when your teammates revive you into a clusterfuck of shit. We also changed the deploy time down to only 5 seconds, so get the fuck back out there, soldier. We've also done some weapon rebalancing because even after 2 alphas and 1 beta, the STG-44 was still way too good, so that and the other automatic rifle, the Sturmgewehr 1.5, was nerfed at short range, needing 5 hits to kill closer than 50 meters, and changed the headshot multiplier to 2. The self-loading rifles now have a lower recoil reset after firing, so if your trigger finger can make your girlfriend happy, you're getting a little bit of a nerf. The SMGs also got a nerf for close range max damage to 9 meters instead of 12, so be sure to high five, bro, to your next enemy, along with giving the Sten an MP34 fire mode selections. In sniper nerfs, the Enfield's bolt action is now slower than the KAR-98K, even though the gun is newer than it. Go figure, dude. There is also an across-the-board hip fire spurt increase for LMGs, semi-auto rifles, and self-loading rifles getting a slight bump, but the assault rifles, you gotta spread them like a colonoscopy. Ouch, man. The rifle nade launcher gadget got an accuracy buff, so if you could bend it like Beckham, you'll be in good shape. The anti-tank launchers can't be hip-fired in case you want a faster rocket in your pocket when you're happy to see me, and the throwing knife only does 100 damage up to 13 meters, with the drop-off going down to 60 damage until 20 meters and beyond, so it's only a headshot kill at those longer ranges. Can't wait for those wub-wub knifer montages. Furthermore, with weapons, the specializations are now no longer solely upgrades, as some have drawbacks and better descriptions so that people can know what they're getting into, unlike those some prime mortgages in the late 2000s, because the trees are now less linear, which makes the forest a trippy place to be, man. You're gonna have to follow all of these fucking squiggly lines, just like a toddler's coloring book. This also applies to vehicles, and we also removed the additional vehicle position specializations because we wanted you to really get to know your buddies crammed into small places. Bow chicka wow wow. Back to gameplay, we've made all of the hundreds of animations for doing mundane things all much faster now, so it doesn't feel like you're watching one of your favorite war movies with your bros, including vaulting, mantling, camera bob height, and especially spawning with things like changing in combat to be only within 10 meters of enemies for 4 seconds instead of 15 meters in 5 seconds, as well as faster changes between spawn views. We also fixed the bug where players would not be seen sliding from other players' perspectives, but we all know it's a Battlefield game, so people will be surfing all over the place like my dream vacation. To help with the visibility of enemy players, we increased the muzzle size of enemy gunfire, along with adding rim lighting to make the bad guys stand out more like an aura that you wouldn't mistake for Jesus. Converse to enemies are squad mates, and we tried to make everyone play even more nice together by giving assist score to all members of the squad for offensive reinforcement kills, as well as reducing the requisition points to call in supply drops, which sounds like something that would trigger a Call of Duty World War II player, but not a shit bucket. There's also a new pre-round lobby that lasts for 45 seconds that shows you who your new best friends are in your squad and allows you to change up your loadout for the upcoming map. And I know what you're thinking, why the fuck is the only place where we could change our weapon specializations in a 45-second pre-round lobby timer when in the past Battlefield games you could swap attachments at any time when you earn them? Well, here at DICE, we want you to value your gun as an individual entity, not something you can just dress up and discard later like a battered housewife, you dork face. Oh, and for the Conquest game mode, we've lowered the ticket count from 800 to 650, so now the matches are almost over as fast as you could spunk, so get that tug session. Speaking of wank, we did some console improvements like removing snap aim assist from controllers as we reevaluate auto aim, so it's not like watching a person with Parkinson's play our game with the constant ADS in and out to get on target. We also implemented custom controller mapping similar to PC, where you could bind any button, including mapping individual vehicle seats to get any action, but good luck not having the multitude of capabilities of a keyboard. For PC players, we switched up the prompts in the man down screen to have call for help be left mouse and skip be right mouse in order to encourage people to watch your enemies dance on your grave a little bit longer. I wonder if they'll start moshing. Other UI changes include decreasing the time it takes for both dog tags and the kill feed to pop up so that you'll get a sense of pride and accomplishment for doing things, especially since we toned down the award moment where the giant V would obstruct basically everything in your line of sight, like those tall assholes that stand in front of you at punk shows. I know everybody wants a trophy, but it doesn't have to be a giant one, right? Hang 10, man. We also had some problems with white on white, and we're meaning the text on the screen, not the agenda that people think we're pushing with their games, so we've added an adaptive shadow system to make like any decent thumbnail designer when your text is difficult to see. Oh, and speaking of that supposed agenda, we've addressed some of the feedback that we've received about the profanity filter being too sensitive and even completely wrong in cases at what words it filters out, so we're gonna monitor that, but rest assured, toxicity is only cool when it's a System of a Down song. Lastly, as things in the coming soon black hole, as we already have a thread of known issues even in a week and a half prior to the delayed launch window. They include vehicle gunner crouch support, which was a thing in Battlefield 2, but somehow we haven't found the reason to implement it in any game since, and that teammate body dragging feature that we boasted about during the reveal way back in May, which was kind of a blur period for us due to all the negative backlash about our first trailer, but hey, at least these other trailers have been pretty good since then, right? Pound it, marketing team. Oh, and unlike in some other FPS games, we're launching our game with 60Hz servers for PC and 30 for console, because I doubt those antiquated pieces of hardware can tell the difference between 30 and 60 when they could barely reach 60 FPS as it is. And coming soon, we're trying to see if we can go up to 120Hz servers, but again, only where it matters on the PC platform. But as of now, we're either 3 or 1.5 times as good on launch as the game that made us delay our launch.